Now I believe this to be quite a very large block of maple actually, so it has got quite a lot of character and configuring in the grain structure here, although you can't really tell a lot of it because the whole thing's been coated in wax for it to slow down the drying process. I don't know whether it's dry or not. It looks pretty good, maybe around 5 pounds. It is a 7x7 block of square maple. I want to make a fairly round outside and hollowed in from the usual tools to make a very small opening at the top. Let's get started. As is my usual style, I'll trap this between centres, get the old tool rest away from that, and in this particular case I've got the outside of the end grain on the top and on the bottom. I'm going to try and make this a very, very steep curve all the way around, equally top and bottom. That's the that's the plan first off. So we'll see how we go with that. As usual, get this thing round in that particular shape, and who knows, as we keep going, it might change. With something as large as this and relatively light in between centres, make sure your body's not on this side of the piece, but over this side. I'm behind the camera here now, keeping well away, so if this should fly off between centres, it's going to go out that way, not towards the camera and myself. Well, it's taking shape. We've got a flat part here and on the opposite side here too. So it's probably got another quarter to half inch to be taken off. A lot bit narrower on this side and a little bit, well, symmetric on both sides. We'll see how we go. I've got about most of the 7 inches in depth on this, so it's going to be a long type of vessel. You never know when you're turning a bowl how it's going to turn out. You think it's going to be this way and that, and you think, oh, well, I might just put that in there. That's what's the fun. It's a thing that you can do anytime. So you can see here I've got the end grain from this side all the way through to the other side, and there's quite a bit of wholesale tear out going on with the grain. That's because I've chosen this direction for the bowl to be turned. If it was the opposite way inside the centres to be held, then of course we'd be dealing with this end grain at the top and the bottom of the actual piece. I've opted to go this way, so I'm going to stick with it, and you can see here a massive tear out that's going here Tools need to be extremely sharp, and we're going to make several passes to make this finishing piece on the outside. Now I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick this up or not, but you can see as close as I can get it with the light as it is. Let's just go in a little bit further there. Yeah, so there's a far less tear out there now with the tool. This is the 3/8 long ground bowl gouge, which I switched over for this, and I've already given it one cut. Probably going to give it one more cut to see how smooth it comes out. One thing about making final cuts, you get one go at it, and you leave the rest to the sandpaper. So make it as neat and as close as you possibly can, particularly when we're dealing with ingrain. Okay, that's looking nice. We've got a spare smidgen of tear out on this part here, but I'm going to leave that to the sandpaper. The wood is fairly damp, so I'm not sure how this will turn out on the surface, but certainly no more gouging in the outside, and I'm quite happy with the curve that's going on here, right where you're about the top. I may want to sort of make a little decoration at the top part. Next thing is to get this switched around, so I'll put a tenon on the bottom here. Now you should be able to see the rim, or the top rim of the bowl here, or vessel, let's call it that. It's not really a bowl, it's more of a vase type shape. But anyway, whatever. This is the rim at the top and the surface of the bowl. I'm going to just use the 3-inch sanding disc, not on the end of a drill this time, just with my hands a bit twisting around, just to get that surface nice and smooth. Bit of a chip in the tip there, that'll be sanded out nicely. Then I'm going to put on some finishing sanding sealer, and just that will be the outside finish with, and we'll do the inside. So stick with me on the sanding part. We'll just jump over the boring different grits, but we'll go right up to probably about 400 grit on the outside. Now I'm going to take out as much material as we possibly can with the Forstner bits. I've got a 1-inch Forstner bit here that's going to start the job off. Got to be careful by not getting jags here. Make sure the Forstner bits are fairly sharp as we go through, otherwise it will do what you've just seen there. Starts turning around the chuck. And it wasn't for anything other than the tool not sharp on this one. I didn't tighten it on the chuck. Silly me. So now I'm going to take this all the way through to probably around about 2/3 of the way down the vessel. I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom. We're going to have probably about 1 inch of material to keep the weight of the vessel stabilised when it's on the table, etc. I'm going to go out to the largest Forstner bit as I possibly can, get as much material, and then we'll use the tool to hollow this out. Now this is the tool that does the hollowing. It's on a gooseneck lathe, solid metal or stainless steel tool, but the actual cutting bit itself, if you can see very close to the camera here, it's almost like a scraper, but it does actually cut. Just taking the camera a bit further away so you can see the actual tool itself. It's quite a long one. It sits in your arm like this, so it's helping you to hold the steadiness of this tool. And you can see then you've got the gooseneck on the end here. Now this is a pretty good tool. It cuts in very nicely, but in this particular case, in the small truck, so if this should catch, it could just fly out of that truck. It's held in tight, but there's nothing on the end, and it's a very long space there, about 7 inches to go all the way through. So we're going to take it very, very slowly and just take as much material as we can. We're not going in for 1/8 side thickness walls. We're just going to get some voids in there because it's not really there to hold much. It's a more of a show piece than an actually functional piece. Okay, let's get on with it. The trouble with this type of cutter is that you have to back off everything and take out the material in a slow pace. I mean, that's got quite a bit of a chunk missing out of that, so we've got probably quite a nice little cut going on the sidewall here. So we'll carry on. I couldn't really get the total action of hollowing this out because the camera kept getting in the way, but we've got about an inch to an inch wall surface here on the inside. It's not completely smooth yet because it's not been sanded, but you can see here, if I can get the camera fairly deep in there with a bit of light on the subject, it's not a completely smooth surface that you'd normally accept. Certainly wouldn't have accepted on the outside of this piece. It's still got some tool marks and lines. Certainly going to put any scraper or finishing tool inside this. It's a very tight space. You don't want that tool to go whipping around in your face as it takes purchase on any of those surfaces. So all I'm going to do now is take in some sanding inside and out, and we'll get some finishing done on this. So you remembered that we put some sanding sealer on the outside of this bowl, and I've just put a coat of Acks Abrasive sanding paste on top of that, spinning it around inside the lathe, and we'll just take off the paste and have it make that become nice and shiny. We'll have the Acks polish on top of this, and some Mylan's friction polish on top of that for the outside. The inside, I'm not going to pay too much attention to. It's not a complete smooth surface. I'm going to have some sanding sealer on the inside, and that's about it, possibly. It's not going to carry anything like a very, very wide bowl. It's just there as a vessel. Looks very much like a vase, actually. I didn't mean it to be that, it just ended up that way. Stick with me. I've got a small chuck on here, the actual vessel itself, pressing hard on there, and I'll bring the tailstock up here just to keep it stable so we can remove the tenon. Fortunately, there's a little hole at the bottom of the tenon there, so it should need pressing in just a tad, not too much for the top to split open, so I've got to be very careful. Okay. Now you might have seen a few catches there on the bottom. It's because I've not pressed this up very tight to prevent the top splitting. So it's not the ideal way of taking the tenon off, but got to be very careful. This can catch fairly simply, but it didn't do any damage. It's just got the lid very nicely done. Going to put the maker's badge on the bottom of this. Let's go to the next step. Well, this is the job all finished, guys. This is the project. This is how it started out with a square block, and this very nice piece of maple with a grain structure, which I'm very, very pleased with. It even shimmers as you come across the side here. Beautiful. On the bottom, the maker's badge. Really don't finish off the bottoms just lately. Just finish off everything up. This sits on the tabletop, never gets turned. Yeah, that's laziness, but it came out pretty well. The inside is not there to hold anything, as I said before, but it's quite a nice looking, I guess I could say it's a vase, definitely. But as far as I'm concerned, I like the structure of it and the character of the wood. It's turned out well. Nice bit of maple. See you next time, guys. Cheers.